Welcome back to VRLA. We are back with another incredible show, which we couldn't pull off without support from our sponsors. So please give a huge round of applause for Intel, Qualcomm, Dell, Microsoft, Viveport, Neurogaming, Serial Location, FaceBase, Keep It Going, Prosper VR, Anti-Latency, Technicolor, Beyond One, and over 200 other exhibitors, sponsors, and media partners. Thank you. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that help make this show possible. And it all starts with the VRLA team. That's us. These guys work so hard to make this show happen. So please give it up for John, Johnny, Jess, James, Kate, Christian, and Shelly. Thank you. And finally, thank you to all of the crew, staff, security, and designers that help make everything run so smoothly. Since the last VRLA, there's been a ton of exciting news in immersive tech. New standalone headsets are starting to become a thing. AR on phones is actually pretty good. You got a Knuckles, let's skip that one. Ready Player One. Yeah. Honestly, I was pretty disappointed. Where were all the telepathic dolphins? Everybody knows you can't have a VR movie without at least one telepathic dolphin, Mr. Spielberg. But seriously, this movie is a big deal for our industry because it's showing us what VR could be like with such an extremely advanced sense of presence. The film juxtaposes a vibrant metaverse with a physical world that seems to be falling apart. Hordes of people wearing VR headsets roam the streets like zombies, seemingly unaware of the brutal trash heap that's become their planet. It's actually not hard to imagine this kind of future becoming a reality, but is this really the world we want to live in? It's easy to forget that VR can only exist so long as our planet is healthy enough to support us. Building better and better headsets won't matter if we can't take care of the only home we have. The people in Ready Player One failed to protect their physical home, and saving their virtual one resulted in a huge war. And while virtual reality can be very useful for military training simulations, avoiding the future portrayed in this movie will require giving up our addiction to war. And most of us in America are blessed with not having to worry about physical war, but just because we aren't living in an active battleground doesn't mean we aren't fighting other kinds of war. There's the war on the environment, with the EPA systematically weakening standards designed to protect our planet. The failed war on drugs, where the prohibition of plant medicines humans have been taking for millennia prevent veterans suffering from PTSD and depression access to treatment that could cure them. Instead, the pharmaceutical industry wages the war on health, hooking us on pills that only temporarily alleviate pain. We have the world's largest economy, and yet we allow 13 million American children to live in poverty. In such a safe country, the fear of school shootings still looms over our children and families because of our government's failure to address gun control and mental health. And meanwhile, we cry out for the kids suffering in Syria, and yet only allow 11 refugees into our country this year. Finally, the biggest hypocrisy of all, the war on war, where the government demonstrates to the world that killing people is evil by spending hundreds of billions of dollars every year devising faster ways to kill evil people. And what if all of these seemingly disparate wars are actually just one? A war on consciousness. Could this perspective help us cut through all the noise, all the BS, the propaganda, the people on TV selling us their inversion of reality? And what if the quality of our consciousness that shines from within us all is the root source of some of the biggest problems playing out in the world? Distracted by the nonstop melodrama of politics, we forget that the external world, with all of its beauty and ugliness, is merely a reflection of our internal reality, a manifestation of how we think and feel, our mindset, and our values. As long as we remain lost in this holographic hall of mirrors, we will continue to create surface-level solutions that fail to address our problems at their core. How can we evolve so long as we continue fooling ourselves into thinking that a new law or a new protest will solve anything when our underlying consciousness is so distorted by the perpetual pursuit of money? Chasing after profit at the cost of our own health has corrupted our values. And it's not a problem we can simply fix by throwing more money at. We sometimes talk about VR like it could be this magical solution for everything. But in and of itself, it might not be capable of healing such a deep-rooted malfunction in our programming. In a war on consciousness, surely VR must have some valuable qualities we can apply to our life outside the headset. We've turned presence into a buzzword, but it's still what makes VR such a powerful medium. So immersed inside a virtual world, putting a headset on forces you into the present moment because you can't do anything else. There's no phone to reach for compulsively, no new tab to open, no distractions. In a world filled with diversions competing for our attention, isn't it a little weird that pulling a screen over our eyes has become one of the rare activities that connects us to the present moment? Spending most of our time thinking about the past and future, we waste our energy worrying about realities we can't actually do anything about. Reclaiming our awareness of the present moment outside the headset means more than some carpe diem catchphrase, and maybe even more than helping us avoid dystopic futures like those featured in Ready Player One. If our problems arise from deep-rooted, unconscious behavior, then accessing the full power of our presence may be our last hope of saving this planet. And when we focus the light of our consciousness firmly in the now, we dissolve the illusion of separation and realize that we are not our body, our thoughts or emotions, our job title, gender, or how much money we might have. Seeing beyond these projections of the ego, we remember who we really are. One unified field of awareness expressing itself through each of our identities. Or, I don't know, maybe we're just inside the dream of a telepathic dolphin. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. To help bring this super heady idea a little closer to Earth, we can look at the metaphor of the wave in the ocean from the Hindu philosophy Advaita Vedanta, which means not two or non-dual. Imagine we're at the beach and I'm trying to describe the water to you. When the water curls up into the air, I call it a wave. When it comes crashing back down and recedes into itself, I call it the ocean. Ultimately, the wave and the ocean are both water, but we create separation in our minds through language. So it goes that we are like the waves in the great ocean of consciousness. And God's favorite joke is two. When we fully embody our I am presence, our values should naturally align with what's best for humans. Because we'll know that harming our neighbor is really just harming ourselves. Reprogramming our values around this deeper sense of unity, we can upgrade the underlying architecture of our personal operating system. If humans are like cells in the body of Mother Earth, changing ourselves would in turn ripple out and upgrade the global operating system. Unfortunately, we don't get pop-ups reminding us we need to upgrade. It's our own responsibility to awaken from the illusion of being permanent residents of Earth, to seeing ourselves more as tourists, temporary expressions of consciousness, merely borrowing our bodies. Remembering our impermanence helps us appreciate the miracle of life unfolding for us in every moment. And what an amazing time to be alive. Not just to be here for the birth of VR, but to witness the beautiful flowering of consciousness as we slowly awaken to how much crazier the universe really is. That we are not alone. That we never left home. Thank you.